on a novel, on a Star Trek book that I once owned, but I don't believe I ever read. It's the Pandora Principle. I always liked the cover though because it had a TOS Romulan bird of prey, but it was decked out in TNG Romulan colors. So I always thought that was kind of cool. So there we go. Let's learn about the Pandora Principle. We confront a Romulan bird of prey that is drifting the territory. The crew drifting into space, or to haul it back to Earth for analysis. Little do they know, the ship carries a deadly evil force. Okay. It's deadly and it's evil. It's deadly evil force. Crew set loose, federate, learn the hopes and survival. Tortured memory of the crew that Saavik has, because Saavik's half Romulan. I suppose we'll just say half Romulan. The home planet Helgard. Helgard of the Hill People. Receives nightmare at birth. Experience gives her the key to the mysterious Romulan force that is deadly and evil. And with it, she can save the crew from certain death. A pocketbook's original, everyone. Pandora Principle. I haven't read the book, so it might be a pretty good romp. There we go. Pandora Principle. It's trivia time. I don't even know what round I'm doing anymore. I'm going to say 14. And my tendency is always to go with these cards. But let's... I'm going to try this old school Trekkie trivia. It's gonna be... I feel it's going to be brutal. Because here are the checklists of what's identified and by what. I think we're going to get very pedantic here. Okay. I think this is from like the 70s. It's got to be from the 70s. So, all right. So I'm gonna have put Pandora Principle out over here. This is my guide to episodes. So EW would be EW. The Enemy Within. Okay. So Enemy Within is what we're talking about here. Maybe I could have just inferred that if I read the question in the first place. But you gotta love old-fashioned typing font. This is, what do they call this? This is classic Courier New, wasn't it? Or just Courier. What was wrong with the second Kirk that you could see after leaving the transporter? Okay. Enemy Within, early first season TOS episode. Transporter malfunction. Sorry, I just had a flashback to the dog with the unicorn, or the horn. Early transporter function. Kirk gets beamed up. He seems fine. And then everybody leaves the transporter room. And then suddenly the transporter comes back on. And then evil Kirk, shows up. Classic, it's been parodied thousands, if not millions of times. But what the difference is here, which is just a continuity error, really, is that he's missing his arrowhead on the uniform. They forgot to stitch it on for this scene. So that's gone. I remember one of the best of Trek books, which were big in the 70s and 80s. It's fandom gone outward. They created some kind of scientific explanation of why he wouldn't have his arrowhead. Something else. So this is going to have to be a flip, I'm sure. That's the problem you could see. A continuity error. He didn't have his arrowhead. So what's the answer? His insignia was missing. All right, hey, I'm feeling pretty good about the old-timey Trek questions. Here we go. Next up. Maybe. Carefully. Oh, come on. All right, so this reminds me of the old Shatner SNL clip about what was the combination of his safe when he was about to beam down during this side of paradise. 36W. I mean, I don't know. Who knows the Rand's quarters? Of course, Rand didn't last long for various reasons. Grace Lee Whitney wrote an autobiography in the 90s. I think it was called like My Longest Trek. And maybe I'll put a little link to it in the description below. 3C46. Is okay. I was trying to do a battleship reference, but I don't know if that even applies with this. Okay? All right. So, too much and too little, and who knows. Next, please. So these are all enemy within questions, so that helps. Who saved Captain Evil Kirk? Was that the official name? Shouldn't it be Evil Captain Kirk or Captain Evil? That okay. Who saved Captain Evil Kirk from dying? Well, it was Captain Not Evil Kirk, wasn't it? Because they both had to get on the transporter together to fuse as one again. Not quite the moral dilemma you saw in Tuvik, but yeah. Who saved him from dying? The other Kirk. And unless McCoy did something, I can't remember. Yeah, and I haven't seen it for a while. I watched it with my wife once, and she could never get over the stupid little dogs with the horns on their forehead. And now I can think of nothing else when I think of Enemy Within. Now I'm thinking of other things in Enemy Within that are uncomfortable. All right, so what's going on? Who saves him? He saves himself. That's beautiful. Captain Good Kirk from the good ship Kirk. That's hilarious. How did the now let's stay consistent with what we're doing here. It's not like I wrote these questions, but and here's Captain Evil Kirk, and now the evil Captain Kirk. How did evil Captain Kirk try to hide the scratches of? Well, he tried makeup. I don't think it was his makeup because the uncomfortable part of the show was he went to Rand's quarters that we learned the number of up here, and did something bad, and then she scratched him, and then he needed the makeup. So this is not a difficult question, even if you didn't quite see the show. You would try to get some makeup. Whose makeup it was, I don't know. With makeup, so we're not going to be satisfied. I have to just venture a guess that it was Rand's makeup. I don't know. Does Kirk have his own makeup that he needs with his hairpiece and his girdle, depending on what time of the year it is that they're filming the episode? All right. Now, it's not to say that Shatner wasn't going through some stuff in the show. So, plenty. That's not a knock on needing the girdle. You need that for the TV show and all, the hairpiece. Well, I've embraced not having the hairpiece, so that's just how I dealt with it. But, other people are different. I'm remembering it's a huge book. It took me a while to read. It's just all these at the time interviews from Star Trek The Motion Picture. TMP, because I can't say picture. And one of my takeaways is Shatner's talking about his diet, and I'm like, wow. So Shatner's all about the health foods. I don't know if he stuck with it, but the guy's gonna live to be 100, so maybe it works for him. All right. So we got that. We got that down as the makeup. It's not balmy at 20 below zero. Okay, so here's what's happening on the planet, because there are still crew members on the planet, and one of them is Sulu. I think Sulu is the only sand. There's always like a Sandoval in season 1, but he might have been there. But I think it was Sulu. Sulu was the one that was down there. So Good Kirk is in the conference room talking to Sulu, who's still stuck on the planet, because at this moment, early TOS, there are no shuttle crafts, because the whole point of the transporter was that you wouldn't have to waste the time or the money to have a shuttlecraft to take you up and down in the planet. And so that wasn't even a consideration. But I'm sure, if this were a Next Gen episode, they would have some excuse about something in the ionosphere that makes it impossible for shuttles to land because of the blah, 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 and they tech the tech all day. But let's just get through it. So there are no shuttlecrafts. So Sulu's down there. Everybody thinks Sulu's going to die. We can't use the transport until we figure out what's going on with these evil dogs and Kirks. Sulu's down there talking. So George Takei has the line, "It's not balmy at 20 below zero." This card isn't so bad, with the exception of, what room number did she have? Mr. Sulu. Very good. There we go. All right. Let's see what's next on the big tote board here. Last question, maybe. Yes, it is. Who did Kirk order to tell him if he starts slipping? Oh, the Spock. What? Yeah. Who else would it be? Maybe McCoy, but Spock's the first officer. Spock's the one who's going to have to put down Good Kirk or do something, because Good Kirk is also dying because he needs the other half to be whole. And now I'm still on my Star Trek V issues. So, we see this theme again where my pain is my pain. You can't take it from me, Cybok, and all this. It's Spock. Who? If it's not Spock, I will be most surprised, and I have no excuse. Yeah, okay. So that was card 106 from Trekkie Trivia. From whatever year. Not bad. I thought these would be so deep cut that it would be impossible, because, in the 70s, all you had were these 3 seasons, and you could just get real detail. Now, I still have these game show cards from Next Gen. If you want to see me stumble, watch the one where about Schisms, the Next Gen episode Schisms, where I'm just dumbfounded by all of it. All right, so not bad. So we might see more Trekkie Trivia cards in our future. That's Enemy Within. It's early Shatner kind of hamming it up, but then it gets kind of not great for one scene, and you never want to really watch it again. A couple of those episodes exist in TOS, unfortunately. But there you have it. That's a day, and you go have one.